that's the last Italian that you'll hear from me. In your notes, please, in your feedback, please make sure that you put there that all speakers should speak Italian. No more international speakers who cannot speak Italian. You're 10 years old now. Yeah. Yeah. So, thank you very much for allowing me to be here today, and especially on such an important event as your 10th birthday. You have been in service management for at least half of service management's life. ITIL, as a formal approach, has been around for just over 20 years. And I have been involved with these, with ITIL and with these practices since 1993. So I've seen a lot of what happened in the industry. And the one thing that has been very sure for me has been that the industry today is very different to the industry that I was in 20 years ago. I didn't know what changed in the industry. There have been so many changes, and it's been so difficult to understand where the industry is going to go. For the last 4 years, since we published the service strategy book, everything has changed. And I've spent the last 4 years trying to understand how the industry changed and where it's going to go. I have some bad news. I also have some good news. But let's talk about the bad news first. So, my understanding, based on all of the research that has been done by not only Forrester, but a number of other organizations around the world, is that service management is going to be, and your career is going to be in one of 3 places. It will either be in the business, or it will be where we came from, which is in the basement, data center, or it will be in the cloud. One of those 3 places. There is no room for the service manager that we know today. That job is going away. It will no longer exist within 5 years. So where are we going to go? Business, basement, or cloud? What do enterprises want from their IT department today? They want 3 major things. 1, help me to respond rapidly to changing customer needs. 2, give me the tools I need wherever and whenever I want them. And 3, do it with less money than ever before. Isn't that the same as it's always been? Well, yes, the business has always wanted to respond to changing customer requirements. Yes, the business has always wanted tools to enable them to do that. And yes, they have always wanted us to keep the cost down. But there's a problem. The changing customer needs are changing quicker than they've ever changed before. We've actually given them tools to change themselves. And the more they change, the more we have to change the tools that we've given them. So, whereas before, it was possible for us to provide an IT service that was valid for 2 to 5 years, IT services now have to be changed within 2 to 5 months in order to stay relevant to changing customer needs. Give me the tools I need wherever and whenever I need them. I really liked Chiara's presentation earlier, where she had the cell phone with all of the hands sticking out. The tools that our customers are looking for are like that. They don't just want a PC or even a laptop that can link into legacy systems. They want tools that enable them to do new things that have never been done before. And they want them today. And they still want us to drive their costs down. Let's have a look at what's happened to the IT industry since the 1970s. This is some research that was done by Forrester, and it shows the growth of 2 types of technology. The blue line, straight line over there, is the line of traditional IT. And those are the gains that have been achieved by using traditional IT. You'll notice that there were pretty significant gains, but they really have not grown significantly over the decades. They will continue to grow. Now, what are the traditional IT roles? Mainly, traditional IT is there to automate. So if you could do something manually, IT enabled us to take that work and automate it. We could then do it quicker, we could do it with fewer people, and we could do a lot more. But essentially, what IT enabled us to do were things that we were already doing manually. That was huge competitive advantage in the 70s and 80s, even into the 90s. If you could do more, and you could do it quicker, and you could do it cheaper because you'd automated it, you had a very good competitive advantage. But it's no longer a competitive advantage. Being able to automate manual activities is now expected. It is just what business does. The green line represents the type of technology that we use to do things that we have never done before. Things that were not possible manually, we can now do using technology. In Forrester, we call that business technology, or BT. For example, the ability to operate, for a surgeon to operate on a patient from 1,000 miles away. You could never do that before, but with technology that has become possible. That's the green line. And the business gains that we're getting from business technology is huge. The fact that our customers have cell phones enables us to do better and more business with those customers in situations that we were never able to do them before. We can reach our customers in their homes, in supermarkets, on the road, and we can charge them money to do that, wherever they are. So that opportunity is huge, and it will continue to grow. Where is the IT service management industry? Traditionally, the IT service management industry supports the blue line. And that is because we have focused primarily on a wonderful book called Service Operation. No. Do you remember when ITIL version 2 changed to ITIL version 3? Do you remember that? Do you remember how terrible it was that they introduced that terrible book called Service Strategy? And suddenly, the blue book, Service Support, and the red book, Service Delivery, did not exist anymore. And we were really, really upset about that. They have taken away everything that we are comfortable with. They have taken away everything that was important to us that made us succeed in IT service management. Well, the red book and the blue book, Service Support and Service Delivery, only enabled you to work on the blue line. They did not enable you to work on the green line. To work on the green line, you needed service strategy and service design. If you don't have those, you're going to be stuck on the blue line. Okay, but surely the industry is better than that. Surely we have progressed beyond that. We'll have a look at that in a moment. But let me put to you the situation that IT finds itself in today. There it is. It's very small. And there's the business. The business is driving IT. It says, we want to grow our business. We want to grow this new business technology. We want to grow these new innovative technologies, innovative ways of reaching customers. We don't want to be the tortoise of Blockbuster and Borders. We want to be the rabbit. We want to be the Netflix. We want to be the Amazon. We want to grow our business. And to do that, we have to innovate. Fantastic. So we're going to spend lots of money on innovation. Oh, but by the way, we're not going to spend lots of money on IT. We will spend lots of money on innovation, but not on IT, because IT is not innovative. Really? We're not innovative? Oh, okay. Well, remember when the vendors used to be our friends? HP. I see them there, but it's IBM. They're all there. They used to be our friends. They used to help the IT manager. Look at what they're doing today. Oh, you know what? IT manager, we can take everything that you do. We can take your technical specialization that makes you unique, that enables you to demand a high salary, and we can commoditize it so that anybody can do it from anywhere. Every server will look the same. Every server will require the same type of management technology. Oh, and by the way, we can automate the management of that server too. So the technical skills that were so important in IT are being eroded and commoditized. They're offering cloud offerings now. And those cloud offerings do things that IT departments were supposed to do. You know that business units are now starting to buy cloud services directly. They do not even come to the IT department. Oh, the IT manager says, that's terrible. That is bad governance. We cannot allow that to happen. Okay, whatever. We're going to do it anyway. You can't do it. Yes, we're doing it. So what we're finding is that many of the services that IT is providing today are being provided by third parties without IT involvement. Oh, that's terrible. You know what makes it even worse? Who asked for those technologies in the first place? The business. So they ask for the technology, they make millions of dollars of investment, and then they say, we don't want that anymore, we want to go to cloud. Can they do that? I don't know if they can do it, but they are doing it. So, and finally, what are the vendors saying? This is the worst. The vendors are telling your business units, we understand your business better than your IT department understands your business. Oh, you're a banking organization? Fantastic. We understand banking better than your IT department does. Oh, you're an auto manufacturing business? We understand auto manufacturing better than your IT department. Why? Because we provide IT services into many banks, into many auto manufacturing organizations. And your IT department, what are they doing? They're still trying to figure out how to manage the ERP system. I'm not saying that. Vendors are saying that. And there's the IT department, one of the most valuable pieces in the organization. And what is happening to it? There's the value, the toothpaste. There's not much value left. Does anybody recognize this? Is this happening to you? That's the bad news. Oh, but we can use ITIL to solve this. Yes. Really? This is a survey that was done in the itSMF USA. It was done over 2 years, in 2012 and 2013. We didn't do it this year because there wasn't much value in doing it. Bear in mind, itSMF, the organization that uses ITIL more than any other organization. You as members of this organization know ITIL better than anybody else in the world. You have certificates, hopefully with bigger numbers than 3, 4, 5. But what have you done with that knowledge? What have we done with that knowledge? It's not too clear to read, but you can see the most mature process that has been implemented is incident management, then change management, then service request management, then event management. By the way, event management goes back long before ITIL. That goes back into the early 1980s. Business relationship management is not so good. In 20 years, we have matured 3 processes. And what are those processes? Do they help us understand the business better? No. They're all operational, technology-focused processes. Not one of them looks at the strategy of the organization. So, what are we understanding about business? Are we growing in that area? Are we using the knowledge that we have in ITIL to understand our business better, to grow our understanding of the business better? Strategy management, service portfolio management, and demand management, the three most strategic areas that we have in IT, are the least well performed. If that is what we've learned in 20 years, do you think the business is going to give us another 20 years to get better at doing those three things? No. We don't have the time. That's the bad news. Let me prove it to you. Since I work for a research company, we have to have research to back up everything we say. Here is some of the research that we did. We asked if there has been a significant improvement to the mean time to repair. If incident management is so mature, surely mean time to repair has improved significantly. No, it has not. Surely, if change management is so mature, we will have fewer incidents resulting from changes. Has that improved? No, not really. Now, service catalog is one piece of good news. At least we're starting to understand IT instead of in terms of technology, we're starting to understand it in terms of services. It's taken us 20 years, but we're getting there. We have this thing called the service catalog. And you can see that most organizations in 2013 were focusing on building or had already built a service catalog of some kind. Wonderful. But let me ask the question, what were they using the service catalog for? Was it being used to understand the strategic direction of the business? Was it being used to understand changing demand patterns from customers? No. The main reason why service catalogs are used is to automate service requests. Operations. There's nothing strategic about automating service requests. It's purely operational. So, at least you can see there that the service catalog implementations are going well. It's one step in the right direction, but it's not fast enough and it's not big enough. Let me explain why. I'm going to give you a case study, a story. This is a real company. I'm not going to give you the name, but it is a real story. It's about a business or about a company that has two businesses, but it doesn't know that it has two businesses. Here's what happened. On the right-hand side, you can see they provide a lot of legacy service. This company has been in business for over 50 years. It is a healthcare insurance company. They provide insurance to pay for healthcare when you need it. And their services are provided, very high-quality services are provided to enterprise customers, large organizations. You cannot, as an individual, you cannot buy health insurance through this company. You have to go through a company. For 50 years, this company has been developing legacy systems to enable them to do this very, very well. But suddenly, competitors started to come in who were selling insurance to individuals. And individuals started to buy insurance outside of their enterprises because it was cheaper. Suddenly, this organization says, we have to start selling insurance to individuals as well as to enterprises. So we need to start this new consumer retail health insurance business. We're going to advertise in health clubs and gyms and country clubs, and we're going to get those individuals, small businesses, we're going to get them to come and be our customer. We have to change the way we do business, but that's okay. It's a huge market. But this is what happened. I went and interviewed all of the business leaders, all of the IT leaders in this business, And I started to understand that there were two sets of drivers. One, in the legacy business, they want to reduce cost. I started by speaking to the enterprise architects and the application development and the quality assurance teams. And they kept telling me this one thing: the operations director is a really bad person. He does not want to embrace change. All he wants is lights out computing. He wants to save money and cut costs, and he wants to outsource everything. Terrible. And everyone was complaining about the operations director. He wants to reduce cost. They want to standardize everything. All of these systems that they've developed over 50 years, they've been developed over time, and they all look different. So now we have to bring them all together so that they look the same. We're using the same data sets, we're using the same languages, and so on. And we want people to specialize. We want people to specialize in a specific type of programming language, in a specific type of operating system, in a specific type of hardware. And each specialist group will have their own department. We want to just keep the lights on. That's all. We don't want to do anything. Actually, that should be lights off. We just want a dark data center. We don't want to have to worry about it. But the problem is, with all the specialization and with all of this automation going on, we need to have some alignment between the development team and the operations team. And they had a big project that was about to launch. The project was budgeted for something like $20 million, and they were going to use that $20 million to educate people how to speak to each other in the system development lifecycle. Fantastic. At lunch, we met the operations director. And I was really worried about meeting the operations director because I thought he was a very difficult man. But it turns out he is very lively, charismatic, outgoing. He is passionate about the business. And this is not the same person, I thought. I said, I've heard all of these things about how you're trying to stop growth and how you're trying to outsource everything. He said, no. He says, actually, I'm focusing and I'm working with the CIO on these new areas over here. And it's different for the new areas. For the old legacy areas, yeah, we want to save money. We want to put things in the basement. But for these new areas, it's really exciting. The business is going to invest a lot of money to help us develop these new systems and put them on cell phones and iPads. It's fantastic. They want us to innovate. We don't have to standardize. We can use anything we like. And we can integrate teams from any department in the organization. We can take operations people, development people, quality assurance people, enterprise architects, security people, and we can put them on the same team. And those teams will change constantly. Every time a new idea happens, we're going to change everything. We don't align to a development life cycle because the development life cycle happens over a few weeks. In the legacy business, it takes us 1 year to release anything into the legacy environment. 1 year is their development cycle. I couldn't believe it. The development cycle on the new business, 2 weeks. 2 completely different organizations in the same company. Here's what's happening. And this is happening within your organization. There are 3 levels of innovation that are happening today. We need to be able to respond to those 3 levels of innovation. The first level is the customer innovation. Your customer, your external customer, your consumer, is changing the way they do things all the time. And every time you come out with a new release of your iPhone software, your app, they look at it, they see the new functionality, they use it, and they change the way they do things. Right? I'm changing the way I watch movies. I use Netflix. It's changed the way I do things. As the customer needs evolve, so your company has to change the way you engage with your customer. No longer is a phone-in number for support going to be enough. So, for example, I had a problem with my internet service provider. I phoned them. I couldn't get through to anybody that can help me. So I just tweeted, I have a problem with my account. Is somebody going to do anything? I had an answer in 3 minutes. We're changing the way we work with our customers. External innovation. But the biggest lot of innovation that we have to do, especially in IT, is this internal innovation. It's innovation inside our company. The way we work, the services we deliver, the products that we offer. By the way, innovation can work both ways. Sometimes your customer will innovate and will demand that you follow them. But other times, you can innovate a new product and you can push that out to your customer and you can start the innovation cycle. Wherever you start, though, innovation is becoming critical as a skill for IT. And this is what the innovation cycle looks like. First of all, we create things. We innovate products and services that make us different, that make us more competitive. It's not the fact that you have IT that makes you competitive. It's the fact that you can provide different services, new services, better services that makes you different, that makes you competitive. Every time you innovate something, that has to be agreed and released and made available to your customer. Over time, once you've released that innovation and you're operating it, it becomes consistent. In fact, you cannot be innovative all the time. You have to change your innovation into consistent delivery to be successful. And so you become good at operating that innovation. Now it's no longer an innovation, it is a standard business offering or a standard business process. Over time, even further, the better you become at operating something, the more commoditized it becomes. And commoditized means pretty much that anybody could do it. And if anybody can do it, then everybody will do it. It's not a differentiator. Can you manage a server? Can you manage storage? Yeah, anybody can do that, right? Therefore, anybody can do it. Therefore, it's out on the cloud. And managing storage is no longer a unique skill to an IT department. Anybody can manage storage, and they are. So it becomes a commodity. Now, the interesting thing about commodities is because they are so commoditized, sometimes it is cheaper and better to outsource them. What does that mean? The more you innovate, the more you will be outsourcing. And we've seen that happening across the industry. Sourcing is growing at a rate that has never happened before. More and more organizations are outsourcing more and more of their IT function. And even worse, they are outsourcing it to more than one service provider. Okay, by the way, sourcing and automation can happen at any point over here. What's interesting is that you can even source during the innovation itself. For example, you may come up with an idea that is innovative for your company, but you may use a third party to provide support for that idea. For example, investment banks are using feeds from Bloomberg or other financial services to be able to fuel their ability to predict what's going to happen to stocks. So innovative, they're using data that is up to the millisecond up to date that they could never do before. They're doing it innovatively, but they're using a third party. Okay, so we can source at any stage during the cycle, but the biggest amount of sourcing happens in commodity. What does this mean for this company? This is the end of the case study. It means that we have two different parts of this business that are operating at two different stages in the innovation life cycle. The legacy business is operating between release and operate, and actually it's worse than that because they're moving from operate to commoditize. They are now outsourcing their legacy environment. They're right in the middle of doing that. And there's nothing that the IT people can do to stop that. Some of them will lose their jobs, others of them will go and work for the outsourcing company. But the new business on the right-hand side is at innovate and release. That's the cycle that they're stuck in. The language is completely different. These people are talking agile, they're getting investment. Those people are talking waterfall, and they're getting cost savings, cost reductions. Completely different culture within the same organization. Here's the problem. That new business is going to mature. And when it does mature, it's going to move down the innovation life cycle, and it will be in the same situation as the legacy applications. It's happened before, by the way, when we moved from mainframe to client server, when we moved from client server to internet-based processing. And now it's happening again. This is not new. Okay, I must stop now. No? I can carry on. What does this do for your spending? Now, I know in previous years, Gartner and Forrester and various other research companies showed you wonderful pictures about how you were going to take that pyramid on the left and turn it upside down, right? So today we spend money on planning, building, and running, like that. And then they said in future we're going to spend money like that. A lot of planning, a little bit of run. That's not feasible. That doesn't work. Actually, what this is going to do to your budget is on the right-hand side. This is what it's going to look like in, over the next 5 to 10 years, is you're going to move money into an integrated build-run cycle. Because development and because innovation is happening so quickly, you have to integrate the build-run cycle. You cannot wait a year for releases to applications anymore. You have to bring that time down, and the only way you can do that is to integrate the build-run cycle, which means that you're going to have to stop the differentiation between application development teams and operations teams. We're going to have to merge them closer together. Planning will be a very narrow activity at the top, and the planning horizon will be reduced from 5 years down to maybe 1 or even 1 year, 18 months. Very narrow planning, and it feeds directly in. There's a feedback loop between planning and build and run. And then your support environment, which is your servers, your networks, and so on, that will be mainly commoditized and will either sit in your basement or in the cloud. And this is the last slide. So, the good news. That was all bad news. Only one slide of good news. But here's the good news. Everything that you have studied in service management, everything that you have done over the last 20 years is still valuable. You will still need it. You will still need to fix things when they break. Incident management. You will still need to make changes. In fact, you're going to make more changes than you've ever made before. Change management. Okay, you're going to have to do it a little bit differently because change management now has to span both the build and the run environment. It's also going to have to cover strategic planning. So change management is not just about operational changes, it's about all change. So it's everything you've learned in service management is valuable, but it is going to be different. It's going to be bigger. It's going to be more business focused. And to do that, these are the most important, if I were to choose 5 or 6 areas that are most important for you as a service management to focus on. It's these 5 over here. Service catalog management is really important, but remember, service catalogs only focus on what is in operations. It does not focus on innovation. To focus on innovation, you need service portfolio management. Right? Imagine if you were in a restaurant, the service catalog would be the menu, correct? Well, what's the service portfolio? Well, the service portfolio is all the recipe books, the chef's knowledge, the ingredients, where you get them from, how much you pay for them. None of that is in the menu. That's all in the service portfolio. The menu just says, what do we offer today? The service portfolio says, what do we offer today, but how is the market going to change around us? Are we going to get more people from a different nationality coming in? So, for example, where I live in Boston, we have a lot of Italian people, of course, and they eat very traditional Italian food, like spaghetti and meatballs and fettuccine Alfredo. They do, but I know it's not traditional Italian. But let's just say that over time, a lot more Chinese people move into that neighborhood. And a lot of the Italian people move out of that neighborhood. Are we going to change our restaurant? Will we keep it as an Italian restaurant, or will we change it into a Chinese restaurant? If we change it to a Chinese restaurant, what recipes do we need? Do we need a different chef? Do we need new ingredients? That's a service portfolio. And then we'll change the menu. So service catalog management, service portfolio management, I'm calling it DevOps, right? Integrated build run cycle. Now DevOps is a specific framework. My prediction of DevOps, as the way that it is run now, is that it will start growing and it will level off and then it will decline, just the way as a lot of service management practices have. And the reason for that is because many DevOps practices today are not strategic. They're only focused on operations, just like service management. So we need to encourage that to be more strategic. Workforce enablement. In other words, how do your users use technology? What do they do with the tools that they have? And then finally, vendor selection and vendor management. How do you make the right sourcing decisions? Those are, I think, the most important skills for you to be able to execute moving over the next 5 to 10 years. The industry is changing from incident, problem, and so on. Those are still important, but in addition to those, these are the things we need to focus on. And then one final thing that I need to encourage all service managers to do is to learn your business. If you work in a bank, start understanding banking. If you work in a manufacturing environment, start learning about manufacturing. Start understanding the metrics they use, the working practices. Now, those of you who came out of your industry, great, you're already there. You're going to have to go back. Those of you who have grown up in IT and have never been involved and embedded in your business unit, you need to start. If you've never done a financial management course, do one now. Finance management is critical. It's the way business communicates. You need to learn that. So become a good business person and then become a good strategic IT person. That way, you will continue to have a job that is integrated and growing with the business. If not, you'll still have a job, but it will either be in the basement or with an outsourced company. And that is the choice you face today. Thank you very much.